Testing, testing. All right. So I don't know what happened, but my mic got yeeted out of its slot. Which is why my microphone wasn't working. All right. That's fixed. Okay. How is the audio quality now? Hopefully it's not peaking. Let me try listening to myself. Or wait, that would show up. I'm gonna close desktop audio for a second. All right, test, test. All right, yep, nope, that is good, perfect. Sorry for the scuff. That is not how I like to run things. All right, so that's fixed. Thank you for the bonk, much appreciated. Those don't need to be part of a section to go to because those are just arc descriptions. All right, part 1 intro. All right, sounds fair. How? I wish I could remove that highlight function. Tinging, I don't know. Well, since that one's not working, I guess I'm just gonna have to ask Google. Tinging. Tinged? I think it's tinged. Perhaps. No. Tinged red. I don't know. It's Tinge. Yep, okay. Yep. I'll just change it to that. There we go. Alright, so now it's Tears Summons. Alright, yep, that's a decent one for this section. Once I get these done, I can start patching them all together. This has actually gone surprisingly smoothing for me. Smoothing? Wow, smoothly. I can talk. Thack, like flack. But I mean, you can just hear me, actually. Thaknarkian. Thaknark Ian. Though I may call them Thaknians, because Thaknarkian is kind of wordy, so I might just shift it down to Thak. The Thaks. Yeah. And then it would be Thaknians. Thenargian? Like a silent K? I suppose. Oh. Really? Huh. The I thought it was a different spelling for that. Hawk people DC name. Thanagar. Thanagari. Oh yeah. Fair enough. No, these aren't based or a nod to that. They were just like a sound. Though that gives me extra reason to shorten it. I don't want misunderstandings. Oh no, I mean before I'd publish it, I'd have to go through it and check for terms anyway. This is all just drafting. Does putting it on YouTube count as a potential lawsuit if it's a draft? Possibly. Suppose I'll have to be careful with that. I mean, all of it would be legally distinct, I would think, but I'll still have to check terms and stuff for trademarks. Trademarks are a blight. Trademarks and copyrights, in my opinion. The core of them is good, but they are allowed to go on way too long. I don't believe a trademark should go on longer than at absolute most a decade, but frankly 5 years seems more than adequate for you to profit off of it before updating it to a different refreshable copyright version. Yeah, and that's the whole point. These are all just filler names. A few hours. I'm probably gonna change that, but that's hilarious. That's a villain for now. Oh, we have this. There we go. Wake up juice is good. Wake up juice is very good. I love wake up juice. Oh. Quite tired. All right, let's see. Makeup juice. Hate grinding for coins in games? I'm sorry to hear that. That is understandable. Hey Justin, I'm curious. I'm thinking about seeing if I can find a talented artist to potentially remove or create a variant of this model without a beard. But I'm not sure. The idea has just kind of been toying around in my head. I feel like the beard makes him look a little extra old. Hello, Silent Willow. Welcome in. First time chatter. How was your day today? And a wave back to you. What are we writing here? We are phoenixing, so to speak, bringing back to life a series that I kind of got my YouTube start on, called Tales of the Ambassador. Ah, your day has just begun. Let's see, 5 a.m. That means you are probably from Europe. Good morning. Yes, and what, Justin? To what I was talking about with the beard? I'm just curious what your thoughts are. Like, do you think this PNG would be better off with the beard or without it? I'm in a helpful time zone. If it's ahead of me, there's not too many options. East Coast US. There's a lot of water in between us, so there's not too much in the way. Not too much in between, rather. Possibly. Though I'm more talking as a look for the PNG. I feel like the beard, well, I like beards. I feel like it kind of ages. Like the guy, I think the age of it is supposed to look kind of like 30s-ish, like that range, early mid 30s, but they look older, I think, between the beard and the suit. No, white hair is kind of tied to the whole character look. Like all of my models have white hair. That's just the Void Mage look. So to continue answering your question, Silent, this is a story where it's an HFY. It's a subgenre of science fiction. It's short for Humanity F yeah. And in this one, it is a series where humanity gets recruited. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking of maybe ditching the beard. Humanity gets contacted by an intergalactic federation of aliens, And we're kind of recruited, as in we joined the Federation, but typically there's not much expected from new members, and the story kind of like just expands from how we join up and the impact we bring from our mindset. I guess the overall goal of the story on how it goes, though it is arc by arc, it's the story of humanity going from for Justin, I think the ads just started for silent, so I will hold off. Oh, never mind. Okay. I thought it... Huh. Well, I mean, that works. The overall goal is a tale of humanity taking their first steps after finding themselves, really, like fixing our act on Earth and taking our few steps into the world, and then we encounter, well, the universe, and then we encounter the Federation, and the main, I guess, plot and goal is how we take the lessons we've learned from being such a storied species and change life as the universe knows it with how our view impacts things and are changed in turn. It's meant to just kind of be a little series of stories, tales, so to speak, of, you know, seeing an HFY from as much of the alien's perspective as ours. On one hand, humanity is rather small, infant on the universal stage. But on the other, as we are integrated and welcomed in and given technology, we keep consistently, even considering we're Deathworlders, or Planetborn, as they'll be called, punch well above our weight class, not just in what we're expected, which is combat as Planetborn or Deathworlders, but in empathy, in diplomacy, in discovery, and other stuff, and all these little stories and tales and encounters from the good and bad and just fun are kind of meant to be this just kind of like little universe tales story, so to speak. But this particular series, because I'm describing the universe, is First Contact. This is the series on the first contact between humanity and the Federation. So that is what I'm writing. I'm glad you think so. Allows the denial the greater. Remember first that. What's the word for that? Adage? I'll go with adage. But I carried it with me ever since. This one, Tyr, is not a stoic. Few of the characters are, actually, not genuinely. Like, or at least not as people imagine stoics. I don't have any intention of writing characters that deliberately don't express themselves unless it's part of like their job, like poker face, but not like impersonal, like how media often portrays stoicism. But many of the core philosophies of stoicism are stuff that are just, positive. It doesn't have to be tied to like closing things in. It can be more to like keeping a perspective of seeing how things are, would be the way I describe it. And I'm not going to write my characters without flaws, but I want my main cast to have each their own section that really feels admirable. I want them to be dynamic. I want them to have bad sides and good sides. Tyr is very, and I will get to that redemption in a second, Justin. How dare you? Tyr is very empathetic, very open-minded, as an ambassador, is intelligent and pragmatic. Their flaw, I would say, is that they're naive. They're accustomed to idyllic results. And particularly as someone coming from one of the founding species of the Federation, they can be habitually confident and assuming without intending to. They wouldn't see themselves as presumptuous or having an assumption of command, but it's something that's kind of been grown into an expectation by being one of the quote unquote higher class. Also, thank you for the follow, Silent Willow. So that's kind of like his flaws that'll be worked into over time, despite how empathetic he is. All right, redemption. Giving myself a compliment. I am someone who sees learning new things as an everlasting journey. And I feel like I have developed a good balance where I keep a goal that can't be achieved, but can feel accomplished. You learn something new all the time. You develop yourself all the time, but you never stop growing. You can never achieve full growth. So it's never fully attainable, but you can achieve all these milestones along the way. And I think that's commendable. And I think I'm reaching a good balance. Not where I want to be fully, but I'm making a lot of progress getting there. And I'm proud of that. So there's a compliment for myself. Balance between how I would describe it is when you spend your life trying to accomplish new things, trying to be better, trying for growth, you can lose track of being satisfied with your growth, how you are. Because the idea of needing to constantly be better tends, in a lot of people, to be perceived as not being happy with how you are. But I think of it as a way of not wanting to be stagnant. And I think it's possible to have a balance where you appreciate where you are as you change yourself and discover new things. if you're too satisfied, you might be able to slip into stagnation. And you don't want new growth or new knowledge or new things. And I don't generally like that. Balance implies an equilibrium, not a lack of motion. Stagnation implies a lack of motion. You can be balanced while running. You can be balanced while doing all sorts of things. It's about, not going too far into one or the other. So I disagree that it's an oxymoron in that context. Any guesses on what I picked up today? It is about 300-ish pages. I have no idea, Justin, I'm afraid. That could be so many things. I know that you happen to like superhero genre stories, so my assumption would be it is a comic book compilation, perhaps a manga with 300 pages, or with 300 pages it could be a light novel. It is a graphic novel and collection of Godzilla comics. It is titled Best of Godzilla Volume 1. It is a collection of issues that highlight Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, or Rodan. Congratulations, Justin. I hope you enjoy it thoroughly. Do. Almost picked up a metal CD album today, but that is unrelated to writing. I mean, hey, music is fun. I don't mind metal. I like all sorts of genres, actually. I think it's less about the genre and more about, well, obviously for people, they have genres they prefer, so it is about the genre. But for me, I like music in general. And I find for myself, it's not so much about the genre as it's about the atmosphere that's being expressed. And different genres have different times where they feel really poignant and impactful. Most of the time, I like kind of like lo-fi or pop songs or things that just kind of fill in the background and help me focus. But sometimes I really vibe with metal or punk, even grunge sometimes. And then there's like really low cat back chill settings where it just kind of feels like that fall atmosphere, where stuff like folk and other music really just hits the mood. Oh, it does relate to your writing? That's handy. Oh, how is Greece, by the way, Silent? Hope things are going well over on your side of the world. I'm interrupted by In most respects, well, that sounds promising. I'm sorry about the other aspects. The band writes historical metal songs, so my book being historical. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. I hope things are better in Greece than they are over in my neck of the woods anyway. I know a lot of people here are fatigued. I am in the States. And while I keep my channel off governance and politics, it is clear to the world that things are fatiguing on that frontier, regardless of the side. So I am just kind of keeping my head forward, focusing on life as much as I can. Pink? Did I type that out or was that correct? K is very far from G. If I type that out, that's hilarious. Ah, yeah, true. That's a fair point. That is an awesome perspective. What do you write, Silent? Oh, what kind? There are a few different approaches to fantasy writing. It's one of my favorite genres, too. There are two novels in the making at the moment. One is a high fantasy series based on what I've developed. Okay. And the other? The other is an alternative historic fantasy. Interesting. Tell me more. And yes, what I am getting very happy to see as I stream more often is how many writers come in here. I love hearing about their stories. They are so awesome to hear. Goes from diplomatic headquarters. And was hard. Official code. Basically, shocked. So, so. Still, so. What? Is it hyphenated? There we go. Based off the life and times of Asclepios, who is considered the father of medicine and has as its backdrop the Trojan Wars. I see. I'm vaguely familiar with Asclepios. They are kind of the origin of the symbol with twin snakes, right? Asclepios. Am I pronouncing that right? My fantasy is about a captain of the king's guard who fails to protect the king from assassination and sets out to find the perpetrator. Asclepios. Asclepios. Asclepios? Asclepios? In doing so, becomes embroiled in a deep conspiracy that has its roots in ancient times, and she finds herself totally outmatched and out of her league. I see. Okay, you remember me mentioning the one of the people comes out of retirement in his 80s to fight an ally to an enemy, and I decided to add that his son, who also became hero, was killed. But now I have decided to make it that him and his son fight the old enemy and the son dies. I see. Well, good luck with that, Justin. Sounds like you are happy with your change in direction. Asclepios. Asclepios. My brain is now fixated on getting this right. Hang on. Okay, let's...
Asclepios.
Asclepios? Is that it? Asclepios. Oh! That might be it. Asclepios. Is it Asclepios? That's an awful pronunciation. Oh no. Was I closer with Asclepios? Oh no. I try to find the official one. It gives me a worse. Google, no. That's not what you're supposed to do. Alright. Asclepios. Gotcha. Basket. Yeah. Da. Congratulations on a successful work in greeting. Why is it doing this? That should not be how it goes. Thank you. Try with this spelling. Asclepios. 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 This is Google Docs. I don't know why that reaction is so particularly funny to me, but that's perfect. Yes, very fair. I'll probably make my own processor at some point as I get better in coding, but by modifying an open source. But for now, it is what I use because it's handy to have across all of my devices, despite its limitations. Ew. If I get to that point, I will definitely hook you up. I have a bad habit of having a whole bunch of things I want to do and maybe getting to about a third of them. Because I don't seem to think that time is subject to reality and is instead subject to my goals, and will overbook myself and get exhausted and have to Tharkarkians. What? Thacnian. Thacnian. Yes. Wait, you caught that up there? Nice. Yeah. No, I mean, I guess I don't really expect people to actually read it while I'm writing it. I don't know. For whatever reason. Yeah, poor Tyr, where he has to deal with that. All right. Do. Hey, fair enough. Um, well, now I'm embarrassed because you're actually reading through this crappy ass draft, but hope you're enjoying it so far. These are what I mostly do if I don't have the rest of the name ready yet, or I've forgotten what it is, because I'm terrible with names, the ones I make included. Hold you do that. I appreciate not backseating, allowing me to get my writing done in its proper, in its personal prose, perhaps not proper prose. The words. Geesh. Just thought it said Banagarian. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Yep. I usually don't feel like even remotely interested in releasing until I get to like my third or fourth. First draft gets it out. Second draft kind of like sees how it works together, cleaning up the obvious, and then I go through with a fine comb. Ugh. So you have to speed read for your job, huh? Sounds like interesting work. It's either administrative or, I would imagine, law. Possibly data entry, though. Sorry, that's none of my business. It's a bad habit of mine to... Oh, you're an editor. Awesome. That's really cool. That makes sense since you write, but I'm super tired. My brain is not working. Well, I mean, I've seen how editing can be. It's a pretty monotonous and often frustrating depending if on the client task where, you're trying to get something to its full and proper bit, but you're also trying to maintain the voice and intent behind the writing. And depending on the writer, they can either be good at receiving that input or not. And then, as you work towards it. But even if the job itself can be tedious, like all jobs can, and occasionally even ungrateful for people, despite what the pay and aspect and stuff you're doing, I think the work of helping people refine their ideas and getting it to a point where the expression is how it's can be best received and reach a quality that it wouldn't have before is a pretty cool type of work. Very fair. Would imagine it would depend on the content of the book a lot. But then again, I'm probably weird. I think all sorts of things are cool. For example, I think accounting is pretty cool, even though a lot of people think it's the most boring thing in the world. But you are working through logistics to optimize things on grand scales to create more efficiency and better workflow. And I think looking to make things more efficient and run smoothly so that more people and more things can find more goals and achieve more is a pretty cool trade, even if it's just crunching numbers. I think all sorts of things are pretty cool. Oh, you also do illustrations? That's really handy. I'm eventually gonna have to do that because I am not all that great at illustration. I can do some rudimentary graphic arts, um, some editing and splicing and stuff like that. And I have some experience in model work because I took a course in mechanical and electrical design, and I know like computer aided design um, fairly well, and I intend to refine my models through Blender to both not lose what I've learned in computer aided design and improve my model working skills. But I am by no means a great illustrator or model worker. Nice. That's really cool. Uh, Not only was it unprecedented for any working Federation personnel to receive mandated work immediately after the completion of a long-standing mandated order, but it was but a first contact assignment is I don't know. I'm not really going by a word count. How I'm approaching it is these sections here are kind of like my plot highlight points. So, for example, this is part 1 of the first contact arc. So my introductory part will have its disclaimer for translation. It'll introduce humanities, and I'll go through each character point. So I have like goals for each part that I put out, and however many or however few gets that done, gets it done. I'm not really focused on making the story super long or super short. I just want to actually complete one of my works to the point where I'm happy with it and get it out there. Whether that's 50 pages or 300 pages. Probably. I mean, I do world building. It's not really in this document, but I do generally do world building practices. But I'm not great at picturing too much out in advance because as I write, the characters take hold, and having anything too concrete kind of messes with that growth for me. So I generally kind of like have a rough view. I write out along that rough view, which then gets polished, and then I understand more what I want. And then I'll refine it. I don't generally have a super detailed image of every little thing. And a lot of ideas come as I'm working on the chapters. So it's hard for me not to have some pantser elements, but I've learned from many past failures from going to pantser and not having enough planning that I need a good overview and general direction. And I try not to shortchange that, because this is meant to be a story. This is meant to be something constructive and have a point, a plot. And I try to remind myself, if I can't summarize where I'm going, then I don't really know where I'm going. And it's not going to become the story I hope it will. I have to have at least a general idea. I've had too many failed works because of that. And I'm very, very tired of having incomplete failed works. Congratulations, Justin. Awesome. I hope you enjoy what you have unlocked. All right, so we are at the hour mark. This is where I generally end stream. So let's look for some writers to raid. Yeah, that sounds about right, Silent. Yeah, and I don't usually keep it on this. For this one, the world building exists from the old work. I have well over 100 pages in the old draft to go back to for rough world building. But it's compiled in a different area, a different document. So let's see. Crap, they taught me how to pronounce this, and I have totally forgotten it. It is kind of like a Welsh pronunciation. So, Well, I just butchered that pretty bad, but we are going to raid someone. I need one note then. I will have to look into that. Let me make a note, actually. Here summons blah blah blah. Okay. Note to self, look into one note as a word processor. Thank you for the tip, Silent. All right, so Justin has put out the raid alerts. Thank you very much, Justin. The top one is for subscribers. The bottom one is for followers. You can use the top one by unlocking the emote with a redemption. I have it set as cheap as Twitch allows at 80 points. And we will be rating a writer friend of the channel. And as I queue that up, that, I will do our outro. Everyone, thank you so very much for coming. I always really appreciate it. Thank you for everyone who has talked in the chat. And I hope you all have an amazing time zone, day, night, and please stay awesome. Have a great day.